are critically important.
They are, because I never wrote the introduction. It's not my flow, so I'm going to probably...
He doesn't need any of that. He's got a cool accent. It's the one
Mhm.
thing that I always wish I had when I was speaking in public.
I think us Midwesterners don't realize that we do have a bit of an accent. I don't know if it's quite as nice as Nick and Squirtails and the like, but you know, we're doing our best out here.
Well, it always sounds different to what it sounds like in your head, doesn't it?
For sure.
You guys have great accents. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, we're just waiting because obviously BZ's flying in the sky at the moment. We just thinking Beer is going to try and get it recorded. But I don't know if we just want to start or how you're getting on.
If it helps, I think we have it recorded on our side. Shadaz, I think you have your Fireflies on as well, right?
I do.
Leo, is it streaming on X and other platforms?
Yeah, we're streaming and it's also recording on my end, so should be good.
Cool.
All right, it's good to go then. So let's start off. This is the 23rd. I can't believe there's so many, but anyway. All right, here we go. So hello everyone, and welcome to our 23rd recurring Platform and Treasury Council meeting, where we continue our journey of transparent governance and community engagement for the Telcoin ecosystem. Today's agenda encompasses several vital updates on the Telcoin governance initiatives, recent platform developments, and a preview of upcoming and in progress TIP and TEL-IP proposals that will shape our future. Let me just post the agenda in quickly so everyone can have a read. Okay, these regular meetings serve as the heartbeat of our governance system, fulfilling multiple essential functions, including creating a transparent window into council operations for our community, providing structured forums for discussing and refining proposals, offering proposers a platform to present their ideas directly to council members, enabling community members to witness, discuss, and help shape these proposals, delivering consistent platform updates to keep everyone informed, maintaining open lines of communication between council members, facilitating direct community engagement through our interactive Q&A sessions. Our governance foundation. I'd like to take a moment to reaffirm that the Platform and Treasury Councils represent the global governance layer for both the Telcoin platform and association. Working in concert, these councils oversee platform-wide systems, shape association social policies, and steward the Tel Treasury with care and foresight. The Telcoin platform governance system, self-organized and determined by 4 minor groups and their elected councils within the association, focus on 2 primary duties: provisioning, planning and financing platform infrastructure, construction and maintenance, providing information and delivering other collective goods essential to our ecosystem's health. TEL allocation, regulating TEL sustainability within the platform for the 4 minor groups to harvest based on their production according to the rules established by their representative councils. And our commitments, as your elected representatives, we embrace several key responsibilities: thoughtful reviewing and voting on snapshot proposals, maintaining consistent attendance at council meetings, providing transparent, regular updates to the community, vigilantly monitoring platform systems, upholding and enforcing our operational framework. There we go, that's out the way. And I'll just give a recap of the last meeting so we can go over that quickly. So in our last meeting, we discussed hitting a big milestone with 0 critical findings in the network audit, fixes taking about 4 weeks, followed by private audits. The banking the Internet of Money proposal was unanimously approved, with TEL collateral transferred expected any time now. Treasury discussions clarified that TEL collateral stays in supply, and a proposal was made to use 10% of the Treasury annually for funding. We also agreed on using Trello and Slack for organizational improvements, with non-profit rates secured for Trello and now Slack, and confirmed the governance structure separating council oversight from the TAO operations. Other topics included applying for a gold check on X to fight scam accounts, exchange listing updates, including an approved but currently blacked out collaboration, validator management, planning for post mainnet, and confirming future meeting dates. And on that note, with the agenda in the chat, we can hand it over to Grant for an update on the Telcoin network.
Thanks, Nick. All right, so Telcoin network development is going well. We're slowly and steadily applying competition patches, and we're through most of the large fixes. We still have a number of small code changes to fix, but I think that we're pretty much over the big hump now. It would be kind of like gaining momentum as we get closer to this finish line. We worked with security researchers to verify all of our code fixes, and they have all been approved so far. There's still some that are pending review. But so far, everything is going really well, according to plan. I've also found about 5 or 6 low findings that we are not planning to address. They're actually kind of, we pushed back on during the competition. They still ended up as part of the competition, and be happy to discuss those further in the when the final report comes out. But all in all, really excited and proud of the work that we're doing. We are back on the public repo, so if anybody has questions or wants to check out the code there or dive in and get their hands dirty, we're more than welcome. Finally, for Telcoin Network, we're started working with Storm partners to develop and enhance our Telcoin Network documentation. So really excited about some of the things that we have in the works. Very early stages still, but with big things coming.
Sounds awesome. So is the testnet back up? Is that what you're saying to connect to?
I think with these findings, we're planning to have DevNet up, another DevNet up next week. We have basically I have about 5 more, I think 5 or 6 more findings that could technically be exploited by outsiders, and then the rest of the findings would be just internally between validators. So we're prioritizing fixes for public-facing vulnerabilities, and there's just a handful left. So assuming that we don't have any more hiccups, we're going to be deploying that next week.
Oh, sounds great. You guys are putting in all the hard work. All right, perfect. If anyone's got any questions, we'll come back to them again, but just stick them in the chat, or if anyone else is managing to monitor the other channels because BZ's not there, they can just put any of the questions in the chat. We can come to them at the end. But yeah, thanks, Grant. That's great. I don't know if anyone on the council here wants to say anything, or happy to move on to the next one. I'll give it a few seconds. Okay, perfect. The next 2 are pretty straightforward, but Thinking Beer is going to jump up and talk about the gold check mark on X. It's not a lot to say, but I'll let him jump in and say a couple of things.
Yeah, thank you there. So this gold check mark, it was passed. I think it was last week off memory. Yeah, it's basically going to make everything a little more trustworthy. Brand consistency avoids anyone in the future having problems, and making sure we're talking to the right people online and so forth on X, trying to avoid impersonations. It was a small cost. It's about $2,000. Well, it was $2,000 a year, and we get $2.5K marketing as well. So it's great that it's gone through. Good proposal, and help build a bit of trust and legitimacy behind our X brand there.
Yeah, and it went live yesterday, I think, did it, on X?
Yeah, I think live maybe a couple of days ago, if not yesterday. Yeah.
And that's great.
All up and running on it.
Yeah, all up and running. And obviously now both Telcoin Holdings with their Telcoin has got the gold check mark, and now the associations one's got the check mark, and we've got a bit of advertising funding to use, which will be great. We'll use that accordingly.
Yeah, no, it's very good. Very good.
All right. Awesome. Okay, so then not much more to say on that, I don't think. Thanks for that. I'll give a small update on the TIP that we did for Slack and for Trello. Leo has been working really hard in the background. He managed, or the association managed to secure non-profit costs for both for Trello and both for Slack. Although not overly exciting for the community, these two tools are going to be amazing for internal communication and better organization. And it's all pretty much done now, and Leo's just finalizing all the setup of it internally. So going forward, we shall have much more organization. Looking forward to it. So well done, Leo, for getting all that sorted for us all. What else we got? Still no sound on X. Leo, okay. So apparently we don't have any sound on X or YouTube. Well, we'll carry on. Hopefully the recording's okay. So apologies, everybody. Our master YouTuber and media guy has decided to take a flight in the middle of a platform Treasury Council meeting. So there's not much we can do about that. But well, let's move on. Okay, so the next topic the next TEL-IP we're going to cover was one that was put into the forum today by Storm. It's Telcoin Finance Legal Operational Support Proposal. So I would like to hand over to Storm Operations team to introduce their new TEL-IP and let us know what it's all about.
Fantastic. Thanks, Nick. Happy to jump in here. And we're going to be sharing our screen as well, if that's possible.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I think it might be good to wait until we get confirmation that the X and YouTube are protecting sound. So it's you guys get to present to everybody.
Okay. Well, shall I just go over the other ones then in the meantime?
I think so. I'm sorry, Shiraz. I just don't want to.
Be fine. We'll keep the anticipation going.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll carry on with the other ones then and come back to you as soon as we get the audio fixed. So the next one then is a TIP 10 integration of OneSafe for Telcoin Association payments. This again is more for organizing the internal side of the association. In essence, it's a full financial services platform designed for DAOs. It brings things like payments, virtual cards, invoicing, and reporting into a single secure system with clear roles and permissions. For the Telcoin Association, the value is internal. It would streamline how we handle day-to-day payments, improve transparency and compliance, and reduce the friction of managing funds across multiple tools. In short, it could help councils focus more on governance while making the operational side run smoothly. So again, it's just more of an internal kind of financial stack for the Telcoin Association itself. Things like paying for the subscriptions for Trello and for Slack. We could have an actual proper card that can be used for those types of payments. We can even use it for paying contractors that need to do work or whatnot. A bit like just an accounting system, basically, but designed for DAOs. So I wrote the proposal. I've put it in the forum. It's got all the links there, and any feedback to that is actually really reasonable priced. There's only a one-off fee of $150 to open it all up, and then there are some standard kind of fees when you use your card and things like that. But that's it. There's no sort of annual fees or things like that. So I think potentially this could be really good for inside for the Telcoin Association, but it's only an option. We can always discuss it further, but that's there if anybody wants to have a read up about it. Okay, what else?
We had a call with them. Even Leo had a call with them just a few days ago. It's good to have as many partners for this stuff as we can. Interestingly, both sides, both because it gives us the facilities we need to do things in the real world and it's tailored to crypto, and so the more of that, the better. The more sort of as someone who's worked in a crypto company for a long time, the redundancy of payment facilities and operations and banking, meaning having numerous different providers is super critical to continuity of operations. And so, yeah, I was impressed with the founder that we met with and appreciated that he joined. And yeah, I haven't read the proposal yet, but definitely we'll do that. And don't see any issue with it. There is some other, for instance, Storm actually, which is certainly sort of good faith, preemptive to any proposal that they're considering today for us. Is they introduced us to some really solid banking partners as well that we've been completing docs for on both the TAO and the association in Switzerland. So yeah, hats off to them. Appreciate it, and looking forward to looking at this proposal in depth. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, and I think it's super exciting because obviously they're fully understanding crypto. It's not like a traditional fintech company where you mention the word crypto and then they run away and don't let you get involved. They really seem to be very. I thought they were great on the meeting, and I think that they were very proactive in the future of how DAOs are going to need some financial stack behind them. So yeah, I think it was great as well.
It's also a distribution channel too, right? It's like every partnership that we make like this, that's a required effectively to you'd think at least Telcoin network integration, listing, and overall those types of partnerships can bring both awareness to us as well as credibility, and then their existing users being able to interact with our ecosystem via network. It's solid. So yeah, it looks like we got sound on X.
Wait, there we go. So someone needs to tell everyone to go on X if it's not on YouTube. But yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Definitely. I think there's a lot more synergies to happen there, like you said, Parker, in the future with those guys. So we could be opening a good path, all right. So what we'll do now, I think we'll just go on to, we'll leave Storm to the end, just so maybe you guys can try and get YouTube working. But we'll move on to the next one, TelIP, expanding the CEX liquidity coverage. We're going to hear from Ari on that one. If you're there, Ari.
Yeah. So this TelIP basically backs up some previous funding that we had. It turns out that some of the requirements that we would have from various CEXs would be that these centralized exchanges require us to maintain certain amounts of liquidity on their exchanges. So this kind of marries up with the previous funding proposal to allow us to disperse up to another 125 million TEL tokens from the safe into any exchange accounts that we would need to provide funding for. And it's up to, because we based it upon our original pricing of things, which I believe was like 0.03 per token. So we may not need all of it, but this is just so that we have it prepared for Turtle in case he comes through with some stuff, and that's all anonymous things. So
yeah, all anonymous, but it's good to have that there ready to go if like you say, any time it's needed, and we don't have to go through a proposal for it. It's just ready to go.
Yeah, and this is just to get it done ahead of time so that we're prepped for it and able to pretty much turn around on as quickly as possible.
I'd say it's all about organization. That's what we like to hear.
Given the proposal is so cut and dry and part of an existing initiative, and like, just backing it, should we just ask everyone here if there's anyone that objects to it, so that we can move it forward? Because it seems like the exchange listing stuff. Sorry for interrupting you, Nick, but exchange listing is a clear area of preference for the community and for the association, and we're just adding to the stockpile of assets for it. The stuff, it moves really. It's sort of like you have intense periods of like moving really fast to coordinate a bunch of people, and then it goes a little quiet. And so it's like having this. I totally see why it makes sense. And I think based off the forum comments from other council members, that there seems to be some unanimity on it.
Yeah, I think it could probably go to snapshot pretty quickly, personally.
Yeah, if that's the case, I can put up on snapshot here probably tonight or tomorrow morning. Probably tomorrow morning.
Yeah, there's been no kickback from it really, so I think it's probably something we should just get moving.
Okay, I'll get it done then.
Awesome. All right. I'll give it a second if anyone's got anything else to jump in and say before I move on to the next topic. Give it a few seconds. Okay. So now, before we do Storm, we'll do the last TIP, which is from Dali. It's for Discord boost to level 3. So Dali, take the stage, run through it, and let us know what it's all about.
Hey fam, what's going on? It's your boy browbeat me into coming on here, but I will try to make it short and sweet. So essentially for most Web3 projects, there's a couple different avenues where you interact with and get to engage with the community. Every project's a little different. Sometimes I've been at projects where it's all on Discord. Sometimes it's all on Telegram. Telcoin Association is kind of a nice anomaly because it has a lot of different things going on. But when I first joined the Discord, one of the things that I noticed was, not having level 3. There's like, when you walk into it, it's almost like going up to a store with no signage, with no billboards, for example. So if you go into our Discord now, because we are technically at level 3 at this moment, you have an opportunity to kind of showcase and legitimize the server a little bit more. This is an official Telcoin Association platform, like our X and everything else, and it's like an added level of legitimacy to it. When you come into it, also with people like Storm that could be making different graphics. When you go in, there's almost like a banner at the top that didn't exist before even a couple weeks ago. So you can maintain that and update that. If you have certain events going on, you can change that as it goes on. If we felt like doing a Christmas theme, you can do a Christmas theme, or if you're running some kind of engagement or events, there's like essentially a giant billboard at the top of the screen. And if you look at a lot of these other projects and bigger projects, it's pretty standard for everyone that has a Discord to maintain a level 3. So this is not an anomaly. Another nice bonus is if you go to our the proverbial we. I'm going to say we as if I'm, representing the Telcoin Association, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying. If you go to the Telcoin Association X right now, you'll see like even the Discord link is just a configuration of random letters is the link. One of the other advantages just for added legitimacy and ease is that can actually become a vanity link, which will then say Telcoin Association. It almost looks like shady or a scam link as it sits right now. That would be an added level of legitimacy and just awareness for people that you could type it in and search it that much easier. The other thing, I know you guys generally conduct a lot of your calls and everything right through Google Meets or whatever, but you have, if and when you ever did want to do AMAs or stuff like that right in the server, you have higher audio quality. You have a capability of having bigger audiences. For the community, you can do higher uploads of graphics and file sharing and everything like that, let alone the fact that it fully maxes out the capabilities for emojis and stickers if we want to go full ham. Like if you go on some of the Telcoin unofficial telegrams, you'll see that there's a ton of stickers and the community has made so much amazing content. We would be able to really showcase that in the server as well. I don't want to come here and start a fight, but I am a Discord maxi, so I am quasi-biased. I know I've, fought with blue lights and some of the other Telegram nerds about this, but I do have a heartfelt love for Discord, so I am a little bit biased on this particular one, and I did put together my first proposal and try to do a nice job with it. That said, with all of that going on, there are two negatives, of course, right? The two negatives are, there's always the negatives, right? So the two negatives are, um, technically at this moment, it is free, right? So anyone who is boosting the server right now, usually community members, myself, all the guys on the council and everything are boosting the server. So as of right now, it's at no cost because we have 14 boosts. If at any point someone loses their nitro or whatever like that and it goes below 14 boosts, that's when the Telcoin Association would have to step in out of their treasury or whatever. Now if you're missing like 1 or 2 boosts, it could be as little as like $5 to $10 a month. If you lose them all, which is wouldn't almost never happen, right? You would have to almost shut down the Discord to have 0, but hypothetically if that happened, you're looking to the tune of maybe $40 or $50 a month. So it's not a huge ask. Now, the biggest variable to keep in mind with all of this, the number one negative, is if you do ever fall below that level 3 boost, is you have a 3-day grace period before technically you would lose your vanity link. So the situation is if we do decide to put the vanity link in X and these other platforms, that if after the 3 days no one brings it back up above 3, that link can technically be stolen. Now, obviously, people would have to really be staring at this and sniping this, and it's not impossible. It would be tough to do, but not impossible. So I have seen it done before. When that case, like a bad actor or a scammer could technically steal that link and be funneling people into a shady Discord. Again, that would be something that we would have to really be not paying attention at all, and there would have to be a lot going on for that to happen. I find it very unlikely, but if I had to come up with the biggest negative, that would be one, and a serious one to be fair. But that said, I think it's wildly unlikely. And for the most part, that's my spiel on that one. I did put together a proposal that anyone could look out, and if anyone wants to have any comments or whatever, I'm here to answer to the best of my ability.
Oh, thanks for that. That's very informative. I think it's definitely important that there is a place for community to conversate, and obviously it has to be official association. It's always difficult in Web3 because you've got one half that are fine with Discord, and you've got another half that complain about Discord and only want to use Telegram. But then it's a juggle to manage both at the same time. But I think there's definitely merits to ensuring that the association Discord is as best it can be. That's my view. I don't know if anyone else has got any thoughts on that. Okay. We got sound back on YouTube? Do we know? It says we've got sound on X. Oh, thanks, Dali, by the way, for that. Sorry, I'm just my brain's all over the place.
And a soft shill to please come down and join us on Discord. It's sometimes Telegram can be a little intimidating. There's going to be a lot of people talking or whatever, but here there's individual channels, a little less traffic, a little bit more chill, and someone is always around. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks very much for that. We'll definitely go back and discuss it further. Okay, right, so we seems like we've got sound on both now, so we can go back to Storm and their proposal. So if you want to jump up, take it away.
I appreciate it, Nick, and I'm probably a bit of a Telegram maxi, so I kind of kept myself quiet there.
Can't say the word anymore.
Awesome, but yeah, definitely appreciate taking the time. We have a bit of a presentation here for you. I'm just going to let it load on the screen. Awesome, fantastic. Guys, a really great opportunity to be here. It's relatively late here in Geneva, so we're really happy that a lot of the team members were able to make it to present this to you. It's been something that we've been thinking about from quite some time. Just like as a disclaimer, we have consulted the Telcoin Association, Parker, Leo, and a few others on this before presenting it to you. But yeah, really looking forward to it. Happy to just go into a little bit more detail. Also, I know that you're aware of Ermias Gio, who's been leading a lot of the marketing campaigns now the past couple of months. So really happy to kind of be here, a bit as a reinforcement, kind of give you a little bit more context maybe about Storm partners for those of you that might not be aware of us yet. So just kind of like relatively quickly, I founded Storm Partners 5 years ago. Essentially 5 years ago, it was very difficult to find trust in the Web3 ecosystem. And so the desire was to create a trusted partner for Web3 ecosystems, whereby we aggregate the best experts that we can find in the industry around the same table. So you all know Ermias from the marketing side, but we do have legal and compliance, marketing, growth, and finance and risk teams that sit next to each other on a day-to-day basis, so that we don't operate in silos, but that we can work together to be able to find the best solutions to some of the more difficult challenges. Mass adoption is not easy, but I think if we're together with some great specialists and experts in the same room, we can definitely overcome practically any challenge. I'm probably not going to Mars anytime soon, but I think Web3 adoption is closer than we think. So we are considered Europe's leading Web3 strategy and advisory firm. We've worked with a variety of companies that I think on the next slide is going to kind of come up there. So our main core kind of partner that we work with is layer 1 ecosystems. So the likes of, Multiverse X, Algorand, I mean, Polygon's a layer 2, but Stellar, Circle, Cardano, and the likes. We have worked with a variety of enterprises as well. It's something that we're currently actually working on to see which enterprises could be a good fit for the Telcoin ecosystem, such as Vodafone. And yeah, really happy to kind of try to bring our whole network, the whole kind of, let's say, Storm to Telcoin, and really looking forward to presenting this proposal to all of you as we follow. So we do have some of the Storm partners directors here as well. So DJ, actually our director of strategy and research, is going to be leading the presentation here, and we'll have a few other team members jump in as we get along. So yeah, I guess without further ado, DJ, I'll let you kind of take it from here. You're muted if you're speaking.
Last weeks of kind of looking over Ermias' shoulder and also engaging with members of the Telcoin Association and Parker and Leo and Tim in particular, is just like Parker said earlier in the call, things can suddenly move very quickly. I think in terms of how Telcoin has evolved over the past years, with what's happened recently in the ecosystem and the rise in certain key numbers, Q4 2025 and early 2026 is going to correspond to a lot of really important milestones, notably the launch of Telcoin's network, Telcoin Network's mainnet. Knock on wood, I've been in product and worked in a blockchain startup before, so I'll never actually name a specific date. But I think we're going to see definitely an increase in the number of validators. I know we've got our list of 50 by the end of the year. It's time to close the 2025 accounts and start planning for the next year. And there's going to be this mass increase in reporting requirements and activity going on inside and outside the association. This is a time during which membership activity and the relevance of the Telcoin Association and how you present externally is going to increase. And you've also hit a couple firsts within the ecosystem, not necessarily within the association itself, that I think are going to draw a lot of positive ascension, more membership, and more minor participation. And I hope you're all looking forward to that. The opportunity is, again, the value of participating in a call like this, of being a member, not just a holder, but actually participating and using Tel, has never been clearer. And the Telcoin network and members of the Telcoin Association stand to become that first real mass distribution channel of blockchain to the masses via telecommunication networks, or as I've also read a number of times, telecom-powered finance, and that is becoming real. But it can only be real if the members of this community that you know and love, who are capable and who can, kind of move these things forward and hit the milestones and get those touchdowns, are freed to do what they need to do. And that counts for the founding members, that counts for the TAO, that counts for Telcoin Holdings, it counts for you as you engage with this community and other communities and other mining groups. And it definitely doesn't mean that you need to spend a whole bunch of time looking at paperwork, filling out the same form 10 different times. You can outsource that to people who aren't as vital to the ecosystem as you, although we do hope to add a significant amount of value, and we'll talk about how shortly. Again, I told you my team in particular is the strategy and research arm. We do a little bit of everything. We're ecosystem researchers, we're analysts, and enterprise specialists. Typically what we do for ecosystems is working on outreach to enterprises, helping them understand how Web3 works and making it real for them and turning that into real use applications. So we understand onboarding those businesses. We understand where their points of confusion or facilitation might be. I think welcoming the validators is going to be a huge part of how the ecosystem is going to grow and really succeed, and getting them a really good feeling in their first days and months in the association, and then participating in the governance of the ecosystem is going to be really important. And that expertise is existent in my department. We've done a little bit of everything from banking relationships to dealing with cross-departmental projects when legal, finance, or operations all need to do something, or when an external industry like bankers. I don't know if you've dealt with a lot of bankers or compliance officers, but they can get kind of touchy about certain things. And if you know what to look for, you can really save yourself and the ecosystem a lot of useless rework and pain. In terms of operational support, pure operational support, we've allotted about 122 hours in the first year. That's extra capacity to onboard and orient new council or committee members effectively. That's maintaining documentation, SOPs, and knowledge bases for continuity. I'm pretty big on processes, and my whole team routinely creates and upgrades workflows. It's filling out due diligence and AML documents, particularly from a commercial perspective. Having worked to onboard Fortune 500 enterprises before, they, especially if they're listed, they have some pretty significant requirements before they can work with a counterparty, and we can help you get through that process. Like I said, we'll coordinate multidisciplinary work. We did mention in the TEL IP that we will be having routine handoffs with members of the TAO or with members of the holding, and have, just like it's written in the Constitution, that clear delineation of duties, so that we're efficient, but that we're also taking things off your hands that are not creating value. And that includes ad hoc work, like if you need us to cycle through a call list or scrape data on something just so that you can be ready for an event or a conference or an engagement in partnerships or some of the other let's say softer goals of the association, like reducing poverty. We've worked with a lot of NGOs, and we're here to help in all those things. So I'll hand it over to the senior legal manager of our legal department, who's going to talk about some of the specific legal aspects of our intervention.
Thank you very much, DJ. Hello, everyone. My name is Santiago Chamat. I'm a senior legal manager at Storm Partners Legal and Compliance Department, as DJ said. It's a pleasure to be tonight here with you. What I'm gonna try and do is to give you first an introduction on a high level, a panoramic on who we are and what we do at the Legal and Compliance Department. As Nick mentioned earlier, we're legal specialists with the particularity that we focus our attention and our expertise on the Web3 ecosystem. And let's say that this is our niche. So we are not the classic legal partner that touches somehow a bit of Web3, but we are fully focused on this domain, and that gives us the differentiator that we value highly. So In specific terms of legal compliance, we listed some of the areas that we work on a daily basis with. We're highly specialized in token qualification and regulatory compliance in general terms. We have for sure an exposure on the European market, but we also touch another jurisdictions like the US, and more specifically the categorization of tokens and financial instruments. So we have a wide expertise in that field. Within the European Union, we have been working a lot with MiCAR and ensuring regulatory compliance with this framework. But it's an expanding area, let's say, that make us expand our expertise within different areas. So that's another one that we highly value. Another field that we feel pretty comfortable about, and we see that it's a recurrent topic, is the entity setup and legal incorporation of corporate structures and entities for our clients. Not only, again, on the European, but in the international framework. So we touch several jurisdictions. We help a lot with licensing and regulatory advisory in general terms, any kind of contracts and agreements that are needed in terms of tokenization processes or whatever it is that needs to regulate the rights and obligations, for example, of a token holder with the token issuer. In these terms, we work with different kind of agreements. We develop terms and conditions for tokens and platforms. This is something really important that we see recurrently in many projects, that they need a token to operate on the Web3 ecosystem, but they also need a platform, and they need to set up the specific rules within the ecosystem members. In this case, we also focus on, for sure, on due diligence, regulatory compliance, on anti-money laundering, and KYC controls. So this is an area that we also are looking forward to provide with expertise to Telcoin. And DJ, did you mind maybe changing to the next slide? Yeah, thank you very much. We would like to also land a bit of these areas that we work with on a regular basis on executables, let's say, things that we can provide directly on the Telcoin ecosystem. As mentioned, we are a Swiss-based consulting firm that provides 360 regulatory compliance within different jurisdictions. We provide expertise on this area, and we are looking forward to help you with this. Again, we also want to provide executable advice, let's say legal advice, into a strategic quorum and notices and deliberations in this case. We help also with governance internally and conflict resolution. In many occasions, we have seen that running an ecosystem is difficult. So this is an area where we also can provide high level expertise. And in general terms, we're looking forward to become the trusted legal partner for the Telcoin ecosystem. It's an exciting opportunity, and we're very looking forward to start engaging with you in this area. I'm going to leave you with Basil. Basil is a finance and risk director, and he is also going to talk about his department.
Thanks, Santiago. Hey guys, I'm Basil. I'm a finance and risk here at Storm. I've got experience working with various projects like Safe, SingularityNet, BigGraph, or some of them. Basically, at Storm, we do everything from kind of high-level CFO advisory to even like going down to the weeds and kind of booking entries in the accounting system, making sure the VAT classification is correct, all the way down even like liquidating and flipping tokens and managing treasury. So kind of a real full-service back-office finance solution for a lot of our clients. Next slide. Yeah, so I'd say the focus, here on this engagement for Storm is very much the finance and accounting side. The key areas for us initially is to ensure VAT and tax compliance. So making sure that kind of you're fully compliant and secure, seeing if you maybe need a ruling on the VAT and tax side. Also making sure that kind of you're fully optimized from a tax and VAT perspective. And then the second key area is also to ensure like you have seamless accounting operations. So to set up kind of the right software, and within that, the right process. I know you guys already chose OneSafe, which is great. I know you spoke to the founder, Chris. I I've been speaking to him back since 2023 before he even had a product. So it's a good move. I think the product's really good, really come a long way. But products like OneSafe is a great start. We also need to get like product like subledgers as well incorporated into that, which are also pretty important on the accounting side, and also the right accounting stack, and then integrating all that, and then building kind of like a seamless process that connects kind of all that software together. So really developing, I'd say, a stack that really kind of allows us to close the month in like a super timely manner, so that you guys can get numbers out hopefully 2 weeks after the close of the month, so that you can kind of accurately like judge and make decisions, and then like kind of tweak whatever kind of goals and targets you're going after that year. From those also, we should build kind of a budgeting process. So we'll meet together with you guys to start formalizing a budget for 2026. Kind of once you have a framework of 2025, you can start to do that in 2026. But before that, we really have to get kind of a seamless accounting operation set up. But yeah, definitely budgeting to kind of make sure that we have enough capital, liquidity as well, to make sure that we can basically tackle some of the items you guys want to tackle. On top of that too, we also need to set up treasury operations, like a good infrastructure for us to kind of like flip tokens and kind of move maybe between entities, capital and tokens. That's also pretty important. And we also need to document that in kind of a governance way, that there's various approval processes in place as well for that. So there also we'll implement kind of the right software solutions in addition to kind of the right process. But within the software, there's also like governance guidelines and a lot of flexibility in that as well. That's kind of the bulk of the finance work. We'll be here to support you guys throughout. Again, looking high level and looking very much into the weeds. I'll give it to DJ.
Or speed up a certification. Again, this is really a budget for the unexpected. And one thing that is an advantage of working with a group like Storm Partners is that we do have all those different weird specializations in the company where each of us has had the career that we've had, and that allows us to engage with a lot of unexpected things at the time that they're needed, without having to wait for finding the right person to come and solve the problem. The value that we're trying to bring through this TEL IP is 600 hours taken off the hands of your most capable people so that they can engage on the most important issues for the ecosystem. That's about 1.5 days per week given back. So if there's anyone on this call that you've tried to get in touch with and they were just too busy, think about how useful it would be to get 1.5 days of their time returned to you per week to focus on growth, to accelerate the ecosystem, and to strengthen the strategic positioning, which ultimately, again, right now, Telcoin is uniquely well suited to have that positioning and create the Internet of Money, and maintaining that positioning and keeping it is about moving fast and being able to make the right moves at the right time when opportunity presents. And we also hope we'll be able to create opportunities for you. So at this point, I'd love to open up to questions. I understand those questions will come from the council or through the chat for the community.
Thank you. That was a great proposal. Very interesting indeed, covering lots of aspects. We'll definitely see if there's a couple of questions. I think Ty mentioned one, not so much a question, but more of a statement. You say members and expertise of the TA can and will change due to elections. So having some continuity on admin, etc., will be a positive, which kind of led on to a thought I had that it's technically possible at an election that the entire council gets replaced. So, you know, if that did happen on an extreme, any new council coming in would need some sort of guidance and direction of where to start. So I'm guessing that kind of covers all that sort of aspect as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Good procedures and workflows are generally, even in a more corporate context, the way you get more value out of people from day one, right? So I think that's super important.
Yeah, and then I had a question. So I think there's some the association does some of this at the moment, right? Bits of it. So this kind of thing would free up all of that side as well, and we're saying move over to this and then free up all the rest of the stuff that's needed. Is that kind of the kind of goal?
Yeah, again, remember Storm Partners is designed to help L1s grow, right? So we are working legally for the TAO, or by instruction of the Telcoin Association, the TAO is contracting us, and the TAO has that role to supervise us, right? But our goal, our outcome that we're trying to get to by doing this, and the reason we proposed it after spending some time with Leo and Parker and Tim and seeing how much is on their plates and how much opportunity is in the Telcoin ecosystem, is to allow the L1 as a whole, the ecosystem and all subsidiary activities to grow, because that capacity is there, right? You think about it, it's like when you buy those plants in a store and you bring it home and it dies within 2 days, and then you find out, if I just repotted the plant, it would have lived for years. That's exactly what we're talking about. It's giving the plant a big enough pot to grow.
And does it cover things like dealing with M&Os and contracts and developers that come on board and doing all the legal compliance and all that? I guess it covers the whole. It doesn't leave a stone unturned. What I'm trying to say.
Yeah, again, we came to this in a spirit of cooperation. I would say one of the advantages of working with Parker and Leo on this is that we work to fine tune our understanding of the amount of work that needs to be done. But one of the things that we told them is, again, if we get into fast times and for some reason we've burned through our buffer, we're not going to say, no, sorry, can't do it because not in scope, or because it's 10% extra hours. That's just not how we work. We are here to enable you to grow. And again, we have, from the interactions we've had with the community, we believe we will all grow together.
Fantastic. And Matthew's just mentioned that the council was not designed to do any of this type of work. So it's very appropriate if the TAO is not going to hire people to do it directly. So I think outsourcing it, we then potentially keep one organization that does it all, because if you hire staff, sometimes they leave and they change and it can become complicated. So I think the proposal is very well thought out. Parker or anyone else got anything to say on it?
No, I've really enjoyed working across the board with Storm, and we met them, as I've said a few times, years ago at MWC. They were at their primary GSMA event for the world, and over that time, we've been in conversations that really, in developing the association and the TAO, the association being the brains, the TAO being the arms that goes and either does things on its own or contracts with others to get things done. This is a huge unlock because it takes away the administrative, operational tasks, and enables the commercialization that we need right now from an ecosystem development perspective. And it's always been designed so that we could contract with agencies to fulfill this sort of, functions, the full range of tasks, instead of having council members, for instance, having to go do things, and delegating things, from the TAO, that would otherwise, be perhaps more expensive, or sort of become blockers for focusing on higher impact activities. So anyways, yeah, that's my high level thoughts.
Awesome. I think Ari's got his hand up as well.
So would this replace, because I know that we had previously budgeted services for accounting before, and this would replace what we currently have, Parker?
No. So basically, they prepare the accounting, financials, and everything internally, and then give that to the CPA equivalent. Shiraz and Basil, if you want to jump in on that. But our thoughts there were, we've already got our accountant. That accountant covers, the things that we need from a tax filing perspective and everything. But we need the internal bookkeeping, through them, and then maybe we look at it later and say if Storm can do this. I can't remember, have them replace our existing group, but for now I think we're having them work together makes the most sense. Basil, DJ.
Yeah, this is actually specifically addressed in the TEL IP. We will prepare the documents as best and in as automated a way as possible, and then hand those off to the fiduciary. But in general, I think, if we're in this with you, we're going to be adhering to the constitutional principles articulated in the document, right? And that includes just with everyone that we engage with, we will have a clear delimitation of duties, and we'll be collaborative and try to find a consensus on how we're going to operate together. On the question of operations, certainly it'll be seamless. On the question of budgeting, I think Basil is going to help you go through that process, so we can find the best solutions long term.
Yeah, Parker, and I mean, from the fiduciary's perspective, right? Like the accountants here in Switzerland, no offense to them, but like they struggle a little bit on the crypto accounting side of the work. So they won't know kind of how to set up maybe a chart of accounts correctly. They won't know kind of how to classify certain transactions. They won't be able to advise you on like whether you need a tax ruling or a VAT ruling based on kind of like your own native token. So there's a lot of aspects, I would say, when you're working with kind of a local accountant, they haven't kind of had exposure to that space. So they actually like welcome kind of contributions from us and the setup from us that allows them to kind of like give them that security so that they know, entries are 100% spot on accurate. And also like gives them a bit more of like a seamless accounting operation. Like I mentioned earlier, like you guys already chose OneSafe, which is a great one. I pretty much use almost every software in the crypto finance and accounting space. So I've made all the mistakes. So I'll be able to help advise you guys in terms of setting up like the right software and the right stack and basically like process, and also just fully ensure compliance with the local accountant.
That gives me one question then. So with the OneSafe, does that mean you guys can work easily with that? If we got that set up, you guys could easily work with the OneSafe as well.
Yeah, Nick. I mean, we'd actually help you set up the OneSafe from an accounting perspective. We'd be able to help you set up the OneSafe, so that it kind of is fully optimized with the transaction that you're doing. And then within OneSafe, obviously, there's like different like corporate credit card thresholds and specific things that like we'll be able to help you set it up. It's more of like a software question and more of like an internal governance question, how you guys want to do it. But yeah, from a OneSafe perspective, from an accounting perspective, we would cover that piece. But like there's other aspects of OneSafe as well, like invoicing, credit card thresholds, all that kind of stuff that yeah, like we can help you set it up, but it's more of like a software question, and OneSafe will do most of that work. But overall, we'll be here to support, and I have experience using OneSafe. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's kind of like it does. If we get it all set up and that, you guys can work with it. You'll be happy with all that. If we rolled out this proposal and it got passed, OneSafe's a good place for us to be.
Yeah, OneSafe is a solid product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So then, just so that I have it straight as far as budgetary stuff and trying to look at what we have left in the Treasury and stuff and allocating. So you guys have an internal software process that you use that we're going to be using, or is this that you're going to consult and recommend other software products, and then we will have to purchase those items and account for those in our budgets?
Yeah, Ari, I mean, it's more about like kind of using, we don't have any internal software. So pretty much more about just like we have used basically almost all the software out there. So we will look at kind of the transaction types that you have and kind of what your flows are, revenue and cost side, and then we will recommend a software stack basically that fits to you guys.
Maybe just to alleviate concerns on budget there, Basil, can you give maybe just some references to like pricing that maybe some of these softwares do cost, just so that there's an awareness of budgets? I don't think it's in too high amounts from my last recollection, but maybe you just can give some forks.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say OneSafe is definitely more of an expensive software because it's it's kind of more full serving. So that's kind of a more on the higher side. I don't know what they quoted you guys, but you can share and I'll look at it. But other side, like on the accounting software side, it's kind of like minimal. It's like maybe 500-600 a year. And then on the, you need a crypto subledger, which again, depending on your transaction count, will range between also 5 to 1,500 a year. But yeah, it's not like, major, I'd say like major reshuffle of a budget when you're looking at software.
Yeah. All right, Ari, you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, from the vagueness of the IP, like what do we have coming down the road that we have to account for when we've got, this other stuff that's already in flight already, as far as, payouts. Are we going to get back a thing that says, like, we need these 10 software products, and maybe one or two is 1,500, but all in all, we're paying,
Well, don't forget, we might be able to get non-profit on some of these, because we've got that with Slack and Trello. But we as we get more organized and as we grow as the association, and we're needing more tools anyway internally. So it's a growing thing, isn't it?
I don't imagine it's going to be 10 softwares. I think Basil maybe has mentioned quite a few. I think it's very much going to come down to those three that he mentioned. And I don't believe that, I think he's mentioning annual quotes as well. I think if you mention the top of the range, because we're trying to make sure that we're not kind of quoting under so you get any unexpectancies. I think if you mentioned 600 and it was 1.5K for the highest one, that's 2K per year. And then Basil, you mentioned for OneSafe, which I think there's already a subscription to if that's already being used. But maybe you should just give the medium bracket just here, just so that we're not there's no confusion as to any unexpected costs. Do you have just?
I mean, on the accounting software side, like, that spend is like, again, I think it's probably like 500-600 a year, basically on the accounting software side. That's one thing you need, and then you definitely need a crypto subledger. So after the accounting system, there's like a subledger that sits between the accounting system and the blockchain, and that subledger pretty much, that again, guys, that's like really dependent on transaction volume. Like, don't know the full details of transaction volume, but that again, like, will range from really cheap to like 500, up to like 2,000 a year, depending on the transaction volume. But those are, I think, the two other key pivotal softwares that you need in the finance space, in addition to OneSafe.
And then on the proposal, the hours that they have blocked out for each of the areas, that's per annum, or is that per? Yeah.
That's per year, and like I said, we'll be flexible. So if you suddenly need more finance, we're not going to block it at that.
Okay. I see the surge hours on there, and what's the triggering event of that? Would we have to, is that something that, Tau okays, and we're voting to say that those surge hours are in the bucket? So
yeah, exactly. So we're doing the Tel IP to authorize the allocation of the Treasury amount, again, as a buffer. So something that would be triggered by the Tau Council for something unexpected. We'll also just have a continuous conversation with you, right? We'll tell you how things are progressing throughout the year. Are we hitting expectations? Where can we cut corners smartly and compliantly in order to make sure we stay within hours, or is activity again increasing faster than expected? But that'll be a continuous dialogue, not a sudden surprise.
Yeah, and I think just to jump in there, I think for ensuring that everybody's aligned on whatever actions we take that are surge, that we will do that via TIP instead of just like top-down Tau decision making, which takes 5 days. But I think is probably the way to approach that.
I suppose another question is, what if we didn't use that amount of hours in the year? You know, how does that work? Do they roll over? Or, I mean, it's just a question. I know it's a business at the end of the day, but maybe we might only, not that we will, because we're obviously going to grow when the network's going to launch. But you know, what happens if we used only half the hours?
I think we'd be comfortable with either a rollover or a return to Treasury. By the end of the year, again, after 2026, I'm guessing that the Telcoin ecosystem is going to look a little bit different than it does now.
Yeah.
And we'll have to re-estimate what the support needs are regardless. So it's not a pressing concern. We're not sitting here, you know, absolutely wanting to use all the buffer. And it's really there as a safeguard to make sure that we can give you the best client experience we can.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm just trying to look for some questions. I can't see the YouTube or the Twitter, so if anyone can see that and also just put the questions for me in the meeting here, that would be great. But we have got one from Plum. How does Storm see the overall potential of the Telcoin ecosystem? Your growth team is doing work, and now you're coming in for back-end services, so you seem to be committed.
Yep. So, you know, I'll answer this from the strategy standpoint. There are two things that give an organization a real competitive edge over other players trying to capture the same market. One of those is differentiation, which Telcoin has, right? It is the only network that is solely validated by GSMA members and MNOs, and in fact has consistently resisted attempts to kind of go vanilla, right? This is stayed true in spite of changes in the market and from the beginning. And the other thing is alignment, right? It's the idea of, do the different component pieces contribute to this? And if we look at the goal of being the Internet of Money, of being Telcoin Power Finance, of being able to enable MNOs, big global organizations, to use their existing networks and their existing channels to retail users to channel digital money to those users, and to kind of create a permanent link between someone's mobile number or mobile account and the way they transact and hold digital assets. I don't see anyone else having that. And so we can really have two theses out there, right? We can either say that this is not something the world needs, which I think we can look at enough mobile banking systems in developing countries and how localized mobile networks are doing payments to say that that is not true, that there is a need for this. And if this is a need and Telcoin is the only one filling it, then it will succeed, would be my strategic assessment of the network. Again, since we build our business around helping L1s grow, yes, we are invested, and again, as I said before, we expect to grow with the network.
Awesome.
I'm happy to chime in and just say, definitely super committed. Shout out to some of the growth and marketing team members that are here supporting us as well at like 11 p.m. our time, Armias, Joe, and the likes. So yeah, the full Storm team is on board and really excited for this adventure together.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, it's always difficult with time zones because I'm in the UK, Ari and Parker, and everyone's in the US. So trying to find a time that suits everyone is not easy. We've got one more question from Thinking Beer. He says, so this would cover the admin side of MNOs and their details if any communications need to go out for updates.
Yeah, so that's actually a line item in our more detailed proposal, is making sure MNOs are informed. Again, within the strategy and research department specifically, we routinely deal with helping enterprises wrap their head around Web3. So I think we have already, as part of what Parker was talking about in the background, in good faith and preemptively, consulted on how to speak to potential MNOs.
Awesome. We don't have any more questions in the chat. I don't know if any other council members are up on stage want to chime in and ask something. Give it a few seconds. No. Well, and no more. It's your boy says there's no questions on X or YouTube. So yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up. Really, we will definitely look through the proposal and discuss it more. Thank you guys so much for taking the time at different time zones to come on to the association's platform and Treasury Council meeting and you know put your case across. Very informative, very enjoyable, and that kind of pretty much sums up our meeting. Don't know, Parker, you want to say one last thing before we call it a night?
I just was thinking about like next steps. There are a couple areas. First off, thank you, Storm. Awesome proposal. Great job. And, you know, understand because we built a complex system and, you know, that's a benefit to us because we can harness this complexity and to sort of have this unified backbone, admin, finance, ops growth from the same agency that's also domiciled in Switzerland to me is kind of a dream come true. Now, it's a big proposal. I think we certainly, you know, wouldn't go after this call and throw up a snapshot to IP. I think that we need to probably go do council office hours on Wednesday and walk through everything, see if there's any red lines, any you know further concerns. Just as a big proposal and partnership that's new and but yeah, great job to the Storm group. And then the other thing I had was the election scheduling. Was thinking after talking to a few people, you know, it's obviously the role of the platform council to schedule those annual elections, and so as we were talking about having an overlap with the U.S. midterm election November 5th of this year, so that we can harness like election 2025 or whatever hashtags. You know, that was the best that we could come up with, and it seems to be a logical time, especially given the time frame for the telex hooks coming in, as those will be counted towards voting weight for liquidity miners, and yeah, the overall big sort of initiatives like Trello and Slack and the various integrations in the org that we've had. So I think we need, you know, basically another month and a half before the next election, but we should, you know, plan for that unless anyone has issues with November 5th. And then I had a comment on Dolly's proposal, which is basically that given the implementation costs are so low and the potential impact is so high for the Discord boost, should we just push that forward via a TIP and source the $10 or $15 or whatever it is for the platform council save? Or what do you guys think about that? Because I don't think that we should spend too much time deciding about you know, something like that.
I think we should just get it done. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's one of the internal things that we just need to tick the box off and move on from, you know.
And a great proposal at that too.
Yeah.
So good job, Dolly, and the whole community for bringing in some great proposals today, and Storm and Ari, and yeah, there's a lot to discuss. I'll definitely be on council office hours upcoming Wednesday at 11 Central to go through it, and yeah, hopefully we can get this to a point where there's consensus around one way or the other.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, on that note, oh, Matthew's just asked Parker, let us know if there's anything else we are waiting on for the final bank application.
Yeah, so basically we got all the accounts set up, the custodians, Anchorage Digital and BitGo, and gonna plan is to do the test transfer from the Treasury today, and then, you know, once it's all confirmed and done from their end, then do the second transfer of the 5 billion tel, at which point yeah, that's the last thing. So very stoked on that end. They in both of those providers moved very rapidly to help us out. get this done. And you know, they also have work in the banking space for crypto, which is a small group of specialized banking companies. And you know, so it's great to be able to partner with them and align with them, because there's just a lot of opportunity for that.
Awesome. It's all, everyone's getting much more comfortable with digital assets and crypto these days. So things happen a lot quicker nowadays, which is great. Perfect. Okay. Well, we've managed to do an hour and 15 minutes, which is not too bad. But before we close, we'll confirm our meeting schedule for the next Platform and Treasury Council meetings, which are October the 2nd, October the 16th, and October the 30th. So that's pretty much it. That wraps up everything, I think, for the 23rd reoccurring council meeting. Thank you, everyone, for joining in, doing your proposals, and we look forward to the next meeting on October the 2nd.
That's it.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.